Live.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight on this beautiful Thursday evening, crossing live from the Gold Coast head office? And guess what? We're here to talk about ice. And tonight on the show, you're going to hear an incredible testimony. I'm so looking forward to it because I haven't even prompted some questions, but I know that this has been spirit-led. This is for a time like this, and this is to set the captive free. So this is coming out to you live. I'm going to ask you right now to press share on your Facebook, if you're seeing this, press share right now and share it onto your Facebook, because you don't know who needs to hear this story tonight, okay? It might help release them and activate them to make a change in their life, because you know the power of the testimony sets the captive free. Yes. You know, and there might be something that somebody needs to hear tonight that can help them make that change. Yeah, it might be a family member that you don't know that they're suffering with a loved one in addiction, and they need to hear what Jaron's going to be sharing tonight. So please press share right now, and I'd like to introduce you to Jaron. Jaron, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for wanting to share your heart and your story. Yeah, and like I always say it every week, it is a big deal. Okay, It's a big deal because you're sharing your journey and you're sharing from your heart. In hope, why are you sharing here tonight?
Well, my hope is that my testimony will help people to avoid the hell that I've been through.
Awesome.
And the hell that my family's been through. So, you know, if one person gets saved, then that's a trip.
Yeah.
A trip worth being made. So.
That's right. That's awesome. And that's why we do it, guys. That's why we do the show. Because if we can just help one person from our hell and our entrapment and that journey, then, you know, it's not like, you know, we're saying, oh, it's good that that happened, but it can be of use. Yeah. So that's why we do it. That's the truth from our heart. So please press share right now on your Facebook and put it onto your page and share it with your friends. Yeah. I just can't urge that enough, because people suffer in silence, and they're ashamed. And you know, family members, when they call us, they don't know where else to turn, and they're like, oh, it must be my fault. You know, they don't want to tell anybody. So people suffer in silence. So please share it. By sharing it, it means you care. Yeah. And we'll be able to impact more people together. Hey. Yeah. Because in unity we achieve more. Yeah. So before we go into your story, I do have to do some what they call. Is it housework? Housekeeping. Oh my goodness. Why don't I get it wrong all the time? You have to write a big sign here for me. I call it housework. They say it's housekeeping. It's
sure.
To me it sounds like work, but you know.
Oh, let's do it.
Maybe I'll get you to yell out the help number over there. Can you say that help number, 1-800?
Sure. So call 1-800-NO-TO-ICE.
And what's that number?
1800 66 86 423.
Awesome, thanks Jaron. And that is the number to call if you need help to get out of the entrapment of addiction, or if you're a family member and you would like some support and some tools and some help. Yeah, we're here and waiting. Our care team are online. They're waiting to walk with you and to help you help your loved one. Yeah, and if you're that person that, you know, you're sick of that life and you might be in the cycle, in the cycle of addiction, but in contemplation stage, and maybe I can make a change. Wait to hear this story, and I'm sure you'll be ready to call that number. Okay, so that's 1-800-NO-TO-ICE, 1-800-6686-423. A couple of other things I've got to talk about tonight before we get going, Jaron, is the Right Against Ice. So that's October the 24th. If you haven't registered, you need to, okay? And we are being careful with the COVID plan and so forth. So if by any chance that has to be delayed, we will be still holding it, but we'll just keep delaying it until the doors open to be able to have it. But we have Angry Anderson. He's going to be, wow. The young ones probably don't know who he is, but Google him, right? He's a real legend in right time. And a lot of people know him, and he's amazing, and he has an incredible story as well. But he's going to be singing at the event along with the Adam Hole Band, and I might be doing a number or two. I don't know. I'll see how we go. But you know, we need you to be there. We really want you to be there. Register, because it's a right against ice. So you can bring your motorbike. If you don't have a motorbike, you can come by car, but be there, yeah? At the end of the event, we're going to be at Meakin Road, Kingston in Queensland. and we're partnering with the Chariots of Light. Yes, that's right, and the Vietnam Vets. So there's going to be a big end event, a big party, yeah, drug-free, obviously, but it's going to be a great night, yeah. So I want you to be there. I don't want you to miss out and see the photos and go, oh, I should have gone. Register, hey. So get on, keep an eye out for that. Thanks to Grilled Harbour Town. Now, if you need a burger and you need a good burger, you need to head down to Grilled Harbour Town because they are sponsoring us. Get your little cap and put it into the AARC bin, the little jars. So that's up until from the August the 1st. So hang on, don't eat yet. Wait till August the 1st, and then you can go and get a grilled burger. They're healthy, they're good for you, and you're helping your community. Yeah. So that's that all done. We've been back in prisons, guys. Just an update on where we're at with our workshops. We're back in the prisons. Esther went in and did 4 workshops the other day. It was phenomenal. They want us in there more. It's so exciting to be able to impact lives like that. You know, it's some of those people, a lot of those people actually, the majority of them in prison have been impacted by ICE. They've been using, they've ended up there, and sometimes they're ready to make a change. And we're those people that come in and say, hey, we made that change, come to the other side. Yeah, it's much better. And then, you know, some of them get to come in and work with us, and it's awesome. And we see that the life changes that, you know, we're able to experience and walk with and help them create that new platform, you know. So we've started that again. Also, we're almost ready to open our op shop. If you don't know, we are putting together, well, we're almost ready to go with our op shop here in Southport on the Gold Coast. It is super, super exciting. My mum is like the head person of the op shop. She's doing an incredible job labeling and putting things up and cleaning it all and making it COVID safe. And yeah, we're going to need some volunteers, guys. Okay, so if you are keen to help 1 day a week, 2 days a week, whatever, get in touch with us. Okay, we will be opening within the next few weeks. We've got some really amazing stuff in there that's been donated, hand knitted stuff. But it's just the donations are coming in. So if you'd like to donate, please do so. Get in touch with us. Or if you want to volunteer, also please get in touch with us. We want to hear from you. So thanks to Mum, she's doing an incredible job in the op shop there. Yeah, getting that all ready. And everyone else who's helped, by the way. I know there's been so many people helping. Couldn't possibly name you all, but you know who you are. Yeah. So we're looking forward to. We're looking for an outreach coordinator. We've had a bit of change in staffing in here. We are looking for somebody that is interested in helping with our tables in shopping centres and different areas, so that we can help more people. Yeah, we can be an outreach to people. If you have a day or two to give, we'd love to hear from you. So that's the outreach coordinator. So you help set up shopping centres where we go into, or other events that we can participate in, like the Suicide Prevention Week or the Youth Week, and we can just partake in different areas in the community. So if you want to help with that, please get in touch with us. The number to call is 0756656063. If you want to help, please get in touch on that number, or private message us. We're online at the moment. Or email us, and you can go onto our webpage. It's www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au, and there's a little volunteer with us button there. Just say, you know, which area you'd like to help. You know, guys, we can't do this without you. Yeah, we're not a funded charity. We're not government funded. You know, we do what we do from a place of love, and with, you know, in unity we can, you know, we can all become the body of Christ. Yeah, we all have a part, you know, but without all the parts, you know, we're a bit wonky. So what happens is, if you're driving a car, and this is how I explain to the team, one person's the steering wheel, the other one's a wheel, the other one might be fuel. Which one's more important? It all is. Without any of that, the car won't go forward. So we do need you to become part of the change. Yeah. So if you have a skill set and you're sitting there and you, oh, what could they possibly want with me? We want your heart. Yeah, we want your heart and commitment and your smile, and you know, if you want to be part of something bigger than yourself, we're calling out for that. So if that's you, get in touch with us, hey? And don't forget to join the ARC Army and sign our petition to government. We need real lived experience education in our schools. You can do that on our website, www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au. I will say special thanks to people at the end, because I do want to get on to the story. Oh my goodness, this is all important stuff and announcements, and we have special thanks at the end. So please stay tuned for the special thanks at the end to different people and organisations and companies that are helping us. But I do want to get on with this interview, because I'm hanging out to hear your story, man. I know, all I know is that your name's unusual, Jaron, and you came in with one of our guys who's in training, and he does an incredible job. I won't say his name's Anthony, but he does an incredible job on the streets, diligently helping people every day. And now he's coming on board to to be a presenter and an educator in schools and workplaces and stuff with us. And we're just really, really blessed to have him.
Absolutely.
So you came in with him. So anyone that comes in with Anthony is a friend of ours. So I know your name's spelled different. It's Jaron, and it's not Jared. It's Jaron.
That's right.
Yeah. And I know that you're in early recovery. And I was like, whoa, we don't usually have people here in early recovery, but you look together.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been approximately 2 months since I've had a hit of ice, and that's a pretty big deal for me, because it's the longest period that I've been off it for over 5 years. So, and I just feel like something shifted.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not actually craving it anymore. I've got a hatred for it now.
Wow.
And I'm feeling empowered.
That's
to
amazing.
just hurdle forwards and help people avoid it.
That's amazing. Like I can actually see, that you're free from it. I can see that in your spirit. In here you can see when somebody's been set free. First, I'm going to start backwards. Usually I start the other way around, but I'm going to start backwards. How old are you?
31.
If you don't mind me sharing.
Oh, sure.
And you've been entrapped in Ice World, as we call it, in ice addiction for 5 years.
That's right. I think I had my first hit of ice around the age of 27, and I was addicted straight away. Yeah, it was quite profound.
Yeah, it usually is, and you just continue to chase that. So for 5 years, you went. Tell me what that journey was like in the 5 years. So from the first time you took that hit, did you take that? Did you smoke it? Did you inject it? Did you snort it?
The first hit was I smoked it, and I kind of justified it because I thought, I'm just smoking it. I'm not shooting it. I'm not a junkie, you know. And that's, I guess, the people I was with at the time kind of had that attitude as well.
Yep.
They really, in hindsight, kind of, they sugarcoated it.
Yep.
You know, they made it seem like it was just a cool thing to do, and little did I know that it would be an instant addiction. And you just can't get enough of that stuff. The trouble is one's too many and 1,000's not enough.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
And it's just very destructive on your health and every aspect of your life. So
definitely. Tell me about the environment you were in. Jaron, excuse me.
Sure.
That you were in when you were first introduced to it. I mean, you're vibrant young man in the late 20s, like.
I was in custody at the time.
Wow, what?
Yeah. So.
That's insane.
Yeah, well, I'd always avoided ice. I always had a feeling in my spirit that it was bad news. I'd seen, a lot of people over the years, crash and burn on ice. And, I always knew it was bad news, but it wasn't until I was at one of my lowest points in custody that I just wanted an escape from the prison lifestyle that I was in. And that was one of the main drugs in prison.
Yeah.
So
I hear that, Jaron, and I haven't been in there, so I don't know, but I hear that, some of our guys and the people that we work with coming out of prison and engaging with us, they're like, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere in there, and it's actually pushed on you. Is that right? Or was that just subconscious? Were you like, my life's over anyway, I'm just gonna like.
I had a cellmate who was actually a very kind of easygoing guy. I wouldn't say it was pushed on me, but like I said, he sugarcoated it. He kind of seemed together. He wasn't your typical sort of user. He was quite intelligent, well educated. You know, he and I were both a little different to a lot of the other people in there, and we had a kind of bond. So I guess I trusted him, and you know, he didn't really give me a proper, you know, insight into ice. You know, he kind of made out like, you know, it's okay. I remember he'd say that, like, it's okay, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, but you know, it had ruined his life. And it had ruined many other people's lives that he knew, but he didn't really talk about that. He was in denial. And you know, like I said, I was just at a really low point in my life where you know, I just wanted to escape that reality. And you know, for me, it was prison. For some people, it's, you know, an abusive relationship. You know, it everyone's different, but that was one of my lowest points, where I was just like, you know, I just wanted to escape reality. And you know, prior to that, I had an issue with all sorts of, you know, different substances, alcohol, you know, pot, methamphetamines, and you know, so I had that addictive nature and that love for escaping reality, I guess. And so, you know, I see the other drugs that I used earlier, like pot and alcohol, as gateway drugs. They kind of, they built me up to it.
Thanks for saying that, because a lot of people go, oh no, marijuana, alcohol's not a gateway drug. This is a reality. It is a gateway drug, and it is a door, and it is an opening to the next thing. And you go, oh, but yeah, I'll just do this. I'm not actually going to do that. But you do get there when it's in your face, and the opportunity, and you're cornered, and you know, the enemy has a way of coming in to introduce that to you when you're at your lowest. And you know, a lot of people go down that path because you want to escape, you know, because you are cornered, and that is where it entraps you, you know, because you're not able to use your frontal lobe, your logic, rational decision. It sucks your soul out of you, you know, like no other drug does. I mean, no drugs are good for you. Let's face it. Even prescribed drugs, there's side effects. You're going to read the side effects. You're going to go, man, okay, you've got to weigh it up. You know, when we go into schools, we talk to the kids and we go, hey, you know, this drug ice, it doesn't come with side effects. Or, you know, this is what's going to happen. You know, it could lower your blood pressure. It could make you dizzy or whatever. It doesn't have a little leaflet in there. You know, what's in it? What's it made out of?
Who made it?
Who made it? What's it going to do to you? What are the long-term effects here? You know, you got to make a wise choice. You know, and we're just showing you. We're that leaflet. We're showing you what's in it. We're going to show you where are you going to go, what's going to happen to you now and long term. We're not going to keep, you know, we're not going to keep anything undercover. We're going to tell you it's the highest high you're ever going to get. But let me guarantee you, it comes with the lowest low you're ever going to get. And some of those lows, they're lifelong. Yeah, some of the scars are forever. Yeah, so you've got to be prepared to wear it. It's a hamburger with a lock. You can't say, sorry, I don't want a pickle. It comes with a pickle. It comes with psychosis. Yeah, it comes with prison. It comes with depression. It comes with all of that. If you manage to escape that entrapment, you're blessed. Yeah, truly, you know, truly blessed, because it's a very small percentage of people that do. Jaron, I want to go now back. I want to go back to your upbringing. Tell me a little bit about, you know, what took you into, what was your family like? What was your upbringing like? And, you know, how did you first start using drugs or alcohol, or, you know, your journey?
Okay, so I was born in 1989 in Lismore, into a loving family, loving parents, 2 older brothers, an older sister. I was the youngest. And the first probably 7 or 8 years of my life was quite joyful. You know, I didn't really have any issues that I was really aware of. You know, like I was a troublesome child, but like I wasn't depressed, and I wasn't anxious, and I was, you know, very much free. Well, I thought I was, but you know, I was. I guess I was. You know, I didn't really fit into school. I was. You know, I didn't really want to be there. I was. I had a learning disability where, you know, I learned by doing stuff, not by listening.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, you know, I was always looking at the clock in school, waiting for the recess bell, and didn't really want to be there. And so over time, I started to become depressed in school. and anxious, and around the age of 7 or 8, I think it was. And by the time I was 9 or 10, just an older kid, year above me, he was in year 6, I was in year 5, he just offered me a smoke of pot, and that was really the beginning of the end, so to speak.
Wow.
You know, like I became heavily addicted to pot.
How old were you there?
10.
10. Did you guys hear that? Like, I want you to hear 10, okay? So this is when a drug, pot, was introduced. Let me tell you that pot today is, apart from it being hydroponic and grown with all kinds of chemicals, it's actually being laced with ice today. So I just want you to know that. If you think, oh yeah, my son's doing just a bit of pot, think again, yeah? They're getting laced with all kinds of stuff, but ice is one of them, in hope to get an addict in the making that'll keep coming back, that'll give them money, and that'll keep them entrapped, yeah? And they'll keep supplying. So just, marijuana in itself, long-term use, especially on a young brain like that, can cause psychosis, schizophrenia. Like, it's all outcome of long-term use of pot. It's medically, obviously there's medical marijuana that's used for different treatments of cancers and stuff like that. But we've got to be really careful. A lot of people go, oh, it's all right to do a bit of pot, man. It's just something that grows. Well, it's not really something that grows in the garden anymore, yeah? And that long-term use of that, apart from being a doorway, can cause schizophrenia and psychosis.
For
so
sure.
just, you've got to be aware of that. I just want to give you the facts. Hey, what you do with that is your choice, but let's hear 10. Apart from that, we've got kids in New South Wales, central New South Wales, 8 years old, and they're using ice.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and they're trafficking it, yeah? And they've been given that and asked to, traffic it, and they're 8. And I heard that from people working on the streets there, and they're reaching out to us to go help. We don't know how to deal with this ice epidemic. And so that is horrific, because you and I both know where that life leads you, and you imagine a little 8-year-old entrapped in that world, and that is, to me, that's why we do what we do. Yeah, there is no way I would want to see a little 8-year-old go through that, And
No
so,
one would.
no, that's why we do what we do. These kids, my grandkids, other people's kids, they're worth it, So, 10, my goodness. Tell me about what that looked like after that.
Yeah, so it changed my world, like I went into like an inner shell, like I stopped feeling my emotions. So, I stopped feeling depressed and anxious. I just, I was in another world. Yeah. And, the more I smoked, the more I needed. By the age of 11, I was growing huge quantities of marijuana out in the bush, and I was trafficking it. By the age of 14, I was arrested with a large bag of pot, and it looked like I was going to get sent to juvenile detention. So I decided to go to rehab instead, based on the advice of my lawyer at the time. And so I think I was about 15 when I went into rehab, and spent 3 months there, and praise God, I was able to give up the pot. And I came out, and the court case got taken care of with probation. However, what I didn't realize is that I still had an addictive personality, and really it wasn't long before I just replaced that addiction to pot with alcohol.
Yeah.
And I guess I thought alcohol was all right, because I thought, well, at least I'm not going to get arrested and charged for it, and
it's
everyone
legal.
else is doing it. But I actually ended up having, far worse problems on the alcohol. I'm not saying the alcohol is worse than the pot, but it's just that I was able to do it more frequently. People would, buy it for me. I could sit on the street corner and do it and not get arrested. I get a move on direction. So it was socially acceptable, even for a young person in a way. I mean, there were some people that obviously didn't accept it, but most people turn a blind eye to a 15, 16-year-old kid having a drink. Yeah. And I had this addicted personality where, like I said earlier, one's too many is a thousand's not enough. I would just drink until I'd drop. I'd black out. I'd wake up in the watch house. You know, I'd have to ask the police in the morning, what am I doing here? What are the charges?
Wow.
You know, resist arrest, assault police, all sorts of, you know, chaos that a lot of the time I wouldn't even remember doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And but I was hooked by that stage, and I didn't know how to cope without alcohol anymore. So because I had been suppressing my emotions since the age of 10 on alcohol, I had become dependent on continuing to suppress those emotions with something.
Yes.
You know, and so it just went from the pot to the alcohol. And you know, one thing I forgot to mention earlier is that before I went on to rehab with the pot, I was in deep psychosis on the pot.
Wow.
You know, and I was hallucinating, like highly paranoid, had dropped out of school, and so yeah, that was pretty ugly as well. But yeah, I didn't get into trouble, you know, with things like assault until I got onto alcohol.
Yeah.
And then it just brought out the worst in me, which, you know, I'm not proud to admit, but that's just what alcohol does when you drink too much of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, you know, they don't call it spirits for no reason. That was
That's
just
right.
revelation that I had. You know, you drink a bottle of spirits and, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you're welcoming, you know, evil spirits into
That's
your
right.
life.
Absolutely. I think the same thing. I
And-
go, why do they call it spirits? That's why, because it opens a doorway. It opens your doorway of, you know, of your soul, of your spirit, and they just, you know, it's like half of the time when we're helping people out of that entrapment of ice addiction, it's like, that's not the person.
Mhm.
You know, it's like a demon, you know, demonically possessed, because that's not the person, that's not my son, that's not my, you know, and it is, because the person changes dramatically when they come clean. And it's like, wow, you know, what it does to the person, you know, can be really devastating. I want to ask, what was going on with your parents and family at this time? Because, you know, they're obviously seeing their son, you know, drinking, first doing all the pot, and then drinking like this and getting into trouble. What was going on? Were they?
They were doing everything that they could in their power to help me.
Yeah.
But yeah, there wasn't really a lot that they could do, because I'd made a decision that I was going to rebel.
Yeah.
You know, even if it wasn't conscious. You know, and you know, they weren't going to handcuff me to my bed. You know, they did what they could. They offered me counselling, and you know, I went through a lot of different depressive medications and anxiety medications. None of it worked.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Of course it doesn't, because when you're using substance, it cuts out the effect of all of that medication.
Mhm.
That's what people don't understand. They think,
Yeah.
oh, but you know, if I could give them a bit of medication to help the dopamine, to help this, and to help the depression, maybe they'll come good. It doesn't quite work like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, that was my experience, and yeah, you know, like my parents used to, you know, lie awake at night wondering about me and worrying about me. I'd be off on the streets, you know, hanging out with criminals and drug addicts, and yeah, I just at that stage, that's where I wanted to be, you know, anywhere but home, anywhere but school, anywhere but work.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, just a very rebellious youth, and I put my parents through hell, you know.
Do you think that you know, the reason why you wouldn't want to be home or anything, because you were ashamed of what, you know, or you were just angry? What was going on for you underlying all of this?
I think there's multiple reasons. The first thing that comes to mind is that I was searching for something.
Yeah.
And even though I had loving parents, what I was looking for, didn't know what it was not, I couldn't find it there or in school, and I was on like this adventure trying to find happiness.
Yeah.
So I was just trying every, you know, thing that I could think of to find happiness,
Yeah.
and you know, I just kept falling short time and time again. And then, you know, I was on this slippery slope, and I just kept drinking more, and then that led to, you know, experimenting with methamphetamines, so not ice, but things like ecstasy, which is similar in some ways. It's very similar, but yeah, things like mushrooms, things like acid. Yeah, I tried it all, and you know, it was all bad. It was all negative. It all took its toll, And yeah, by the time I was 19, you know, I made probably the worst mistake of my life. I got really drunk one night, blacked out, and committed a robbery and assault. And so that's why I ended up in prison later.
Wow.
So it took a couple of years before I was actually charged. And then it took another close to 2 years for me to be convicted. And then I spent a significant amount of time in prison for that robbery and assault. And you know, it just went on. And after a few years, that's when I buckled. You know, I just was at my lowest point. And you know, it was because of a stupid mistake I made when I was drunk and high. I was actually, it was a cocktail of drugs and alcohol. I think it was ecstasy and alcohol, and it was you know, it was a lethal cocktail, you might say. You know, it was it's a miracle that I recovered from that ordeal. You know, like I was very suicidal, and I really just held on because of the love that my family had shown me. I didn't want them to see me die in prison. And so, yeah, I held on for them.
That's awesome.
But as I said at the beginning of the interview, at the age of 27, I was about a year out from the end of my sentence. And that's when, you know, I tried ice for the first time. And yeah, it started off with smoking. And before long, you know, the idea of using a needle was introduced to me. And yeah, I just remember the first hit I had on that, I was well and truly hooked. And it was really, I remember I was quite worried at one point because, you know, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, I'm trying to train in the gym, I'm trying to have breakfast, like I'm trying to watch the TV, it's constantly nagging at me. And I was just like, wow, man, this is intense, you know. And, you know, it's very expensive in general. In jail, it's even more expensive. And it's even more dangerous. Well, actually, I take that back. Like, it's a dangerous game wherever you are. But I found it a little bit harder to get in prison, is my point. Because it's more expensive and you have less money. So, but you know, when you did get it, you really hit it hard because it was like a special treat, for lack of a better description. And so when we did get it, we'd party hard and we'd be up for days. And
it's probably more dirty as well. Like, would you, is it cut differently? What you get in jail?
It just depends. It just depends on the batch that comes in. Really, it does vary a lot. Sometimes it's, you know, it's cut too much. Sometimes it isn't. But yeah, I mean, my real problems on ice didn't really begin until I left prison, because I left prison about a year after that, and once I left, then I had, you know, access to more money. I had access to, you know, I wasn't locked in a cell at night. You know, I could walk the streets 24/7 if I wanted to, looking for the stuff. And you know, I convinced myself that I was strong enough to manage it, and that I could be a functioning addict, and that was just an illusion. You know, I just my habit just got bigger and bigger, and you know, I was awake for longer. You know, one job to another, one broken relationship to another. You know, and yeah, eventually I was up for about 4 days on the stuff, probably at one of the worst points, and I was actually driving on the highway with my brother to Sydney to score a large quantity. And
were you on it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, actually, I hadn't had any for about 12 hours. But I was exhausted because I hadn't slept for 4 days. And I actually lost control of the car because I fell asleep, and the car drifted onto the wrong side of the road. And what happened next was quite profound. I felt something physically shake me awake. My brother was asleep in the passenger seat, and I was out cold behind the driver's wheel, and I was physically, like, violent, like it was like, you know, something really woke me up. And I don't usually wake up like that. Like, if I fall asleep, I'll be out for hours.
Yeah.
Oh, like I'm a deep sleeper, and
especially on the gear when you're having a crash, like when you come and like
yeah,
fall asleep, you can be there for days.
Yeah, I hadn't eaten for days. Hadn't drunk water for days. Was exhausted, and anyway, I was physically shaken. I believe God woke me up.
Wow.
And or an angel. And when I woke up, I was on the wrong side of the road, and there was a car coming toward us, and the car was coming so close and so fast that I could make out the shape of the man's head behind the driver's wheel. And I remember this fear hit the pit of my stomach. Like, I don't know if anyone knows that feeling. Like, it's that like life and death moment. And I thought that I was too close to this car to actually turn away in time because of the speeds, and I thought that if I tried to turn at this speed, that surely I'll clip him anyway, or I'll go drifting, or somersaulting, or I'll hit another car, or hit a telegraph pole. Like, it just seemed really, really hopeless. And I closed my eyes and actually gave up for a moment. And this had all slowed down. Like, it was like time had slowed down completely.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, this, like, it wasn't an audible voice, but it was like a word came into my spirit. Just try. And I just snapped out of this, like, this trance that I was in, where I decided to give up. And I just turned the steering wheel to the left like that, and then to the right, all in like half a second. And I'm expecting the car to go somersaulting, and it just went, just as it was about to hit, just went like that at 110 k's an hour, and this car just went straight past, and then another half dozen cars just zoom, 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 and I was just like, whoa! Now, it was so violent that my brother was thrown in his seat. Lucky he had the seatbelt on. His head almost hit the dashboard, and he was violently pulled back. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, I really did think that we were dead.
Yeah.
And it was like the hand of God or his angels had literally moved that car. I can't think of another explanation.
Wow.
Like, I've often been tempted to speak to someone like who really knows physics and just be like that shouldn't have happened at those speeds. Like, it should have been an accident, And I pulled over the car up at the service station up the road, and I just realized I had to get off the road. I realized that I was a threat at that point, to the community.
A question: was your brother using as well?
Yes. Yeah.
So he was aware that you were off your head and you were driving.
Well, he was asleep.
Yeah.
He was asleep.
So you're both on that journey together.
Mm-hmm.
And that a lot of people don't realise though sometimes that the person next to you is off the head, because you can't always tell that they're using straight away. You have to know the signs and what you're looking for, but you can't always pinpoint, that person is hitting up ice, I shouldn't get in the car with them. You can't always see it. It's not like marijuana or or heroin, where they're kind of losing consciousness or whatever. Generally, if somebody's had a hit of ice, the general public probably wouldn't know. And we think we can get away with it. So I'm just saying that because I don't know, a lot of young ones jump in cars with their friends or whatever. Just be aware, If they're on the night, this is not the first time I've heard the story. I know another guy that ran under a truck, another guy that, had his head all open up because, he fell asleep. That's if you don't lose somebody that you love. Sitting in the seat next to you. So you're very, very blessed that somebody was looking after you, and that somebody, is God or an angel that protected you. But I heard another young guy that had a similar experience. He was going towards a tree, and he had made a significant choice that he was going to end his life today, but that tree moved out of the way.
Wow.
And he said, I know it was God. I know, he moved that, and I'm alive for it. And he kept driving
Praise
after,
God.
and he ended up at the end of the spit, and there was a transformation tent. And that's how, he came to the end of himself. He said, I should have been dead there, But he
I
said,
know that
the
feeling.
tree moved for you. That car moved.
Yeah, well,
My goodness.
I mean, I've tried turning at speeds half that amount before and lost control of cars. Like, I really can't explain it without a divine intervention. And, but, I felt so ashamed. Like, I was sitting there at that service station, and it was this, like, cocktail of emotions. Like, I felt ashamed. I'd almost killed, multiple people or disabled multiple people. And I'd almost killed myself, my brother, like, but I also had this feeling of gratitude that I was still alive. It was a very strange combination of feelings. Like, I wasn't even processing it that well. I actually was expecting the person that I'd almost crashed into to do a U-turn and come back and start abusing me. And I honestly would have just, stood there and copped a punch in the face. Like, I wouldn't have reacted. I just was that ashamed of myself. And these feelings of shame and condemnation were just welling up in me. And I just became suicidal. I just thought, I'm actually a threat to society. I've got no right to live. I should just, I should just end it all right now. And I walked into a shop and I bought a knife, and I decided I was going to take my own life. And I found this grassy field. My brother was doing his own thing. He'd woken up by this stage, and he was off on Tinder or God knows what else. And I walked down the street, found this quiet field with no one around, and I decided to cut my own wrist in that field.
Oh,
And I was laying there and I was dying, and I could feel my life slipping away. I knew I only had moments to live. And as I was laying on my back in this grassy field, all of a sudden I was looking to the sky and heaven opened up. And a golden portal of light started descending down toward me from heaven. And I was like, wow, what they say about the golden tunnel of light is true. I was like really excited, and then I thought, oh, hang on a sec, I'm about to die now, I won't get to tell anyone. Yeah. And it just started descending, and it started getting longer and longer, and I could see, almost the beginning of it from the clouds, and it was getting longer, and it was coming straight toward me. And just as it was about to hit me, it vanished, and 2 or 3 police cars showed up out of nowhere. And it turns out that the man I'd bought the knife off in the shop, even though I had been well dressed and well spoken and paid for the knife and put a donation in the charity box there, because I didn't need the money anymore. I put my last 10 or 15 bucks in this donation charity, because I was trying not to draw attention. I was trying to just look like a reasonable guy. I didn't want him to think that I was planning anything. Anyway, he's jumped straight on the phone and called the cops and said, some young guy just walked in here and bought a knife. I think he's planning a robbery. So the coppers were looking for someone who they thought might be planning a robbery, and they found me trying to take my own life. And I was bandaged up and rushed off to the hospital, and I've never been the same again. It just, I found God that day. I remember as the tunnel of light was coming toward me, I thought I was going to die, and I just, all I could say, like the water was just flowing down my face, and all I could say was, I wish I had have helped people more, and I wish I had have loved people more. And that was my dying wish. And God, I wasn't even asking him for forgiveness. That's not really what it was. It was just my dying wish. And God said, okay, you know what? If that's your wish, I'll give you another shot. Let's try this again. And I found God that day, and I was radically changed. Wow. Like, my belief system was the complete opposite. I believed in reincarnation, Buddhism. Like I remember thinking, wow, how could I have been so wrong? Just after the tunnel of light vanished, I forgot to mention that an elder sat in the throne, was looking down at me from heaven as well. Wow. And he was completely clothed in white, and he had long white hair, and I wasn't sure what I was looking at the time. All I knew was that I was seeing a heavenly being. Yeah. And it wasn't until about 6 months later that I was reading a Bible that one of the police officers gave me, who rescued me that day. He just happened to be a Pentecostal Christian, and while I was in hospital, he was talking to my brother saying, look, if you want to help Jaron, you've got to plug into the source and then help him plug in, because that's the only way you guys are going to beat this stuff. And he was right. And about 6 months later, I was reading the book of Revelation, and I was reading chapter 4. And I mean, I'd be happy to share a quick verse from it if you'd like. Sure. But it talks about the elder that I saw. So just bear with me. I'm not very well prepared for this.
That's good. I mean, this is Jaron's experience, and he's sharing from his heart in truth and love. And I don't know if there's something in there for you. I'm sure that somebody's needing to hear this message today. Yeah. But this is what changed Jaron's life. we've got to connect with our spirit. We've got to connect with a higher source. You know, it really it's an incredible. I've had a light experience myself, so I do know what you're talking about. And until you've hit that space near death, you know, you come to an awakening that is beyond anything that is explainable. Yeah. So I understand, but for those of you that, you know, are going, wow, this is a bit far-fetched, you know, and you know, I even thought that maybe something happened with my eyes, and I went to in a machine, you know, at the hospital where they put a dye in you and they put you in a machine and they did a scan of my brain, and I had eye tests and all of this stuff, thinking maybe, and people went, oh, maybe you were in psychosis. I go, yeah, maybe, except it continued and continued and continued, and this journey of, you know, having that voice in your inner guiding you and leading you. 8 years later, it continued. And if I'm in psychosis, it's the best psychosis I've ever been in, and it's amazing, and it's transforming lives around me, and it's transformed my life, and it's, you know, from such a spirit of love, you know, unconditional love. So I hear you. I'm just putting that out there because, you know, some people get on our website and said, I thought this was about recovery. Yes, it is. But this is our story, and this is what helped us. This is what helped Jaron. So, you know, there might be something in there for you. What have you got to lose? You know, that's just my question to you. What if it is? What if it's possible? What have you got to lose? You know, a lot of parents ring us, they go, I don't know what to do anymore. I've tried everything. They've gone to rehab. I go, well, can we pray? And they go, well, I'm not really religious. That's okay. I'm not asking you to be. Let's ask the creator of the universe, God, to help, to step in and help, you know. Amen. And we see things start moving, you know, because we know the power of prayer and from a place of love, yeah. We're not talking about religion, yeah. We're talking about your creator, you know, and that can make shift and change things in people's lives. You know, what if it does? That's my question. What if it does work? Putting it out there. What was the scripture, brother?
It's Revelation chapter 4. It's talking about when the Apostle John was taken up to heaven by Jesus Christ. And it's just relevant to my story because in the New Testament, it's the only reference that I can find to an elder, which is what I believe I saw that day. So John says that he was taken up in the spirit to heaven, to the throne room of God. He said, after this I looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven. And the first voice which I heard speaking to me was like a trumpet. It said, come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this. At once I was in the spirit, and behold, the throne stood in heaven, with one seated on the throne. And he who sat there had the appearance of jasper. And around the throne was a rainbow that had the appearance of an emerald. Around the throne were 24 thrones, and seated on those thrones were 24 elders, clothed in white garments, with golden crowns on their heads. From the throne came flashes of lightning and rumblings and peals of thunder. And before the throne was burning 7 torches of fire, which are the 7 spirits of God. And before the throne there was, as it were, a sea of glass like crystal. And around the throne, on each side of the throne, are 4 living creatures, full of eyes in front and behind, who say day and night, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. And whenever the living creatures give glory and honor and thanks to him who is seated on the throne, who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him who is seated on the throne and worship him who lives forever and ever. They cast their crowns before the throne, saying, worthy are you, our Lord and God, to receive glory and honor and power, for you created all things, and by your will they existed and were created. And I remember the first time I read that, I was filled with the Spirit of God, and it was a bigger high than I had ever experienced on any drug or sex combined. And I was laying in bed just in absolute bliss, uncontrollably shaking, filled with the Holy Spirit for like 30 seconds. And I just knew that I had seen an elder. Yeah. And I believe that the reason why God chose to send me an elder of all heavenly beings, rather than say an angel or say Jesus at that point, was to give me a revelation, about the book of Revelation. Yep. Because had I not seen an elder, I would have found it very difficult to wrap my head around the book of Revelation. It's you know, it's quite profound, and yeah, it's really brought it to life for me, and you know, and now I have a strong faith, and I believe the scripture in its entirety.
That's awesome, man.
And yeah, I just encourage anyone that's really struggling out there, you know, if you've tried everything else and, you know, nothing's worked, you know, just give Jesus a chance. You know, you got nothing to lose and everything to gain just by accepting him into your heart. And, you know, ask him to reveal himself to you, and I believe that he will.
Yep.
He'll give everyone a shot.
That's right. Even us when we're at our worst, yeah. Even when we're using, even when we're, you know, run away and try and use again, even when we're got a wrist slit open, you know, always, you know, there's nothing that can be worse, you know, that it's at its worst, you know, in the gutter, and at its worst, you know, committing suicide, and at its worst, you know, Jesus can meet you there, you know, God can meet you there.
Amen.
And so, you know, what if it's true, you know, and what if there's an opportunity for you, you know, to have that recovery and to have that joy and to have that peace, and to really be set free from that. It is an entrapment, yeah. It's a hell. Ice addiction is torment, yeah. I call it, you know, highway destruction. That you're going to hell, man, and you can't get out. It's like a whole torment in itself, within that world. You know, I remember seeing things I never thought I'm like, man, I didn't know this existed. Like, I don't know, but you know, on that journey, you get awakened to that, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very dark.
And I think it's also important to say that even when I found God that day, that wasn't the end of my you know, trials or tribulations.
Yeah.
You know, like when you become a Christian, you know, it doesn't mean that, you know, you cease having problems. You know, I still had an addictive personality, and I had to learn how to then, you know, redirect it to the love of God, because that's why I believe we actually have an addictive personality. It's to be addicted to him.
Yep.
And you know, it took some time for me. I had to go to rehab. I went to a program called Transformations in Surfers Paradise, and
Great program.
and you know, they gave me some tools. You know, that program, I believe, is anointed. It's you know, it helps a lot of people, and God uses it as a tool. And yeah, I spent some time there, and it got me off the meth. And you know, since then I've started a new business.
Wow.
And
What are you doing today?
I'm going into the removalist industry.
Yay!
So yeah,
That is awesome.
business partner of mine, a friend, and I were going to give it a shot, and yeah, we just feel really good about it, and yeah, I and not to mention, you know, restore relationships with family and friends. You know, yeah, I just hardly recognise myself now. You know, and yeah, I'm very grateful. Praise God.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. What a testimony. You know, and that is a life transformed, you know, and that's what we want to see here. And I really hope that, you know, you consider engaging with us somewhat at some capacity, because
Absolutely.
you know, when people are at their lowest, you know, not always do they get an intervention with God like happened to you and happened to me. You know, some people get struck down. I got pinned down to the ground. Not everybody does it. Sometimes God uses people, yeah, to come alongside you and go, hey, somebody just shared this with you today. Maybe God's reaching out to you, you know, and we're here to walk with you, yeah, and to hold your hand and to say, hey, you can do it, mate, and I did it, and you can do it, and you're worth it, yeah, and you have a life worth living, and you can recreate that. And we walk with people. That's our peer support service, yeah, and our buddy program. That's what we do, because, you know, disciple men, walk with them. Don't say to me, you know, I'm going to do it alone. It's not going to work. We weren't created for that. We were created to walk together, yeah, in unity. And where I have been, you know, you might be tomorrow, or you know, you might be able to help the next person after tomorrow. You know, so you don't know. We're all impacting each other. So I really hope that you consider maybe joining us later on.
No, I'd love to. I appreciate that, and
budding some
it would be a
lives.
privilege.
Yeah, and being able to share your story and your, you know, to be able to impact or encourage them. Yeah, encourage them on making change. And putting what options are in front of them. Like there's rehab, there's NA, there's there's day hab, there's all kind of counselling, there's all kinds of services available. But you need to first put your hand up and say, yep, I want to create change. I want a different life, man. I'm tired of this life. I don't want to be entrapped in hell. And we've done that, so we kind of can go, hey, walk this way, and we want to walk with you. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your heart and sharing your story.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And I know that God's going to use you massively. Yeah. And he probably already is, but even tonight, sharing that from your heart, I know that it touches lives. Yeah. And it creates, through the Spirit, it creates transformation.
Amen.
It touches people. And if you're listening to this and you've been sent this and you're ready for change, guys, honestly, give us a call. We're online. We will be tapping Jaron in. If you have Facebook, do you have Facebook?
I do.
We'll be tagging them in, and if you have questions, please ask the questions. If you have any questions now live, ask them away. We'll be able to answer them for you here. But if not live, we'll be online for we're always online, but we'll be online for an hour or so, answering questions. And yeah, now's the time to say, yeah, I want change now, not tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late. Yeah, tomorrow you might have hit that car or that tree, or had a bit too much and end up dead. Yeah, today is the time to do that. Yeah, so I'm reaching out to you. The number to call is 1-800-NO-TO-ICE. That's 1-800-6686-423. Or if you're a family member and you have a loved one that's entrapped in addiction and you don't know what to do, you might need some tools. We're here to help you with that. Our care team are online. That number is 0481 844 555. We train people that have lived through having a loved one in addiction, and they get trained to help you. Yeah, so they're here and available and wanting to help you create, with the tools you need to help your loved one. So get in touch with us, yeah? Before we go, I just have to do a couple of, maybe you can help me out here.
Sure.
Special thanks to, who have we got?
Greg Archer.
Yeah, they're from Findex. Thank you, Greg Archer from Findex, for helping us and donating into the cause. Innisfail Fitzgerald Rotary Club, our driving force in the cross, how do you say that?
Cassowary.
Thank you, Cassowary Coast area. They've been amazing in helping continue the education and the interventions in that area in Cairns. So thanks, guys. You really are the driving force for that work, for the workshops we do there. All the Rotary clubs that are engaged with us, we love you guys. Thank you for your hearts, your amazing hearts to give and to help community. If you don't know much about the Rotary, guys, you get online and seek your local Rotary, because they're always doing fundraisers and helping the community around them. There's hundreds of them. You need to engage with one. I'm hectic busy, but I engage with my local Rotary because it's a group of people. They might have businesses and other things going on, but they come together once a month and they want to help the community. And it's a group that they're actually doing something. So thank you to the Rotary.
Mercer and Cooper Realty.
Realty, yeah.
Realty.
You're a natural at this, man. I'm going to get you on the show more often. Mercer and Cooper, thanks Bernice and Matt for your continued support. And if you are looking at property investment, Mercer and Cooper are the people to see, because they're helping your community. Yeah. So it's a win-win situation here, guys. Special thanks to.
Is it Grants?
Oh, Pure
Ads.
Pure Ads, Google Ads marketing campaign. So we're doing some grants. We've applied for a grant with them. So we're in hope that we're going to win that grant. So we'll have some Google Ads and marketing and ongoing sponsorship with Claxton Advertising. Awesome. Thanks, guys. We're still looking for blankets and sleeping bags for our On the Streets program. So, as you know, Anthony,
Yep.
can you jump on? Come here.
Certainly.
Come and join us. Can we squeeze up here?
A bit in
Come
the
here.
middle.
Come here in the middle, my brother. Anthony does part of our On the Streets program. He's out every Saturday, man, and Friday, and every other day he can find an excuse to be out there because he just loves people, you know. And when he goes out, it's freezing out there, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cold.
And we
So
need blankets.
the homeless love obviously blankets, clothes, sleeping bags.
Yeah.
Whatever, even like socks, beanies. Yeah.
We've got some beanies coming our way. They've been hand knitted by Val, isn't that right? So Val, we love you. I know you're watching. Thank you for knitting them. We want to give you some. Yeah. They're so cute and warm. You know, they're really tight. So, guys, if you want to donate to the On the Streets program, please let us know. We also do take financial donations for that, and we'll pass it on to the feeding programs, or we'll purchase swags like we've done in the past. We got to purchase 29 swags in the last outreach, so thank you to everybody who donated. They are expensive, guys. You know, they're a couple of $100, but we were able to get them down to $105 each swag. But you know, that's 27 or 29 less people that are sleeping out in the rain and freezing, and you don't know whether that could be you tomorrow. You really don't, honestly. I didn't think that would ever happen to me. You know, self-made millionaire at the age of 21. I had everything money could buy. And you know, I was going in and stealing from coleslaw food, man. But you don't think that will happen to you, but it could, and it could happen to your loved one, and it could happen to somebody that you care about. So sow into it today, yeah. Give into it now while you can, and help somebody. Lend a hand, my brother. Actually, that song's on my EP.
Yep.
So if you haven't heard the EP yet, Google it. Highway Destruction. Every cent from the sale of that EP goes back towards what we do. Yeah, we've still got to pay electricity and rent. We've still got to pay internet. We've still got to, we get our t-shirt.
And the funding for the schools, like what we're doing going into the schools. That's a big thing going into the high schools.
Massive.
You know, teaching the kids about ice and what it does to them and what it does to their bodies and their families, and destroys everyone around them. So you want to jump on board with that too. Just jump on with the AIC with that.
Join the army.
Yes.
You know, you got to join the army. Go onto our website, join the army, and be part of the soldiers. Yeah, because we're front line. We're hitting this hard, man. We want to make change. We want to create change. It's not okay to be on ice. It's not cool, man. No. Yeah, it's actually disgusting. It's actually a world of disgust.
And it's getting it's bad. It's getting a lot worse out there.
Yeah.
You know.
So you know what? Every $10 helps us get in front of another kid.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many kids do you want to protect today? How many kids? You know, so
such a big thing, and you know, to help these young kids, our generation, and for them to pass it on to the next generation. So, you know, that's where it all, that's what we've got to do, is get into as many schools as we can, and to help save a lot of kids out there.
That's right, and it's through the testimony, through what you just shared today. You know, awesome. Anthony's going to be doing training with me on the week, and he's already started some training with George. You know, we do extensive training, blue card, and we go through the process to get us out there into schools and warning our kids. Also in our workplaces, we do mines, we do workplaces as well, workshops, workplace health and safety workshops, and prisons as well, and youth justice. So, you know, I'd love to see you back in the youth justice, man. Like, you know, really warning these kids about where they're going. Like, that would be amazing, you know. But yeah, so this is our heart, and I hope you get that, yeah. And just, I urge you, even if it is sign the petition, if you can't donate today, totally understand. Everyone's accountable to their own, what they do or don't do unto God. But join the army. It doesn't cost you anything, you know. Sign a petition there and help us present that to government, saying we need real lived experience people to come in and train our kids and show them the dangers of this drug, yeah. So to protect them, yeah. Today, yeah. Tomorrow might be too late.
Yeah.
So don't forget our On the Streets program. Awesome work that you do out there, my brother. Yeah, fantastic. And it doesn't give up. It's every day. It's every day. It's every day. He lives, breathes it. You know.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
But it's just God's work out there, just helping the broken people and the drug addicts and the homeless. Everyone's got their own story, and just to lift them up and get them to a better place. And that's where my heart is. So.
You're awesome, man.
God bless you.
And guys, you're not wearing your t-shirt today. Usually you're always wearing your t-shirt, but you know you can get your t-shirt on our website. You can purchase that. You can get our mugs, which is our anti-ice neo mugs, like that. And we have our hats as well. You know, guys, 100% of the profits of these go back towards what we do. So you know, if you want to help and you know you want to get a cool hat like these guys, or a t-shirt or a mug, there's a way that you can help. Or you can get a CD if you like music. You can get one of my EPs. It's my story, in Ice Addiction, coming out. What that journey was like in music. Yeah. It's really professionally done, so I'd love you to hear it. And it's available on Google and Instagram. Not Instagram. What's it called? Spotify and Apple Music and Highway Destruction by Andrea Simmons. All profits go towards what we do. Yeah. So I'd love you to be part of the journey, part of the change.
The slogan.
Good on you, mate. I'm going to let these guys run the show next week. Honestly, it's awesome. I love it. All right, here we go. How does it go? Not even once. Not even once, guys.
Don't charge.
Take care. God bless. Stay clean. Get in touch. We love you.